Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live show. Yeah, works great. Cool. And we are live. Let's bring out the chat. So, hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave radio show. We are Friday. Yep, another Friday already. Friday, February 8th, 2019, and we are live with a radio show that talks mainly about shortwave, long wave, medium wave. We try to keep it below 30 megahertz. We sometimes have a little bit of stuff above 30 megahertz. I'll have one note of information for those watching about International Space Station Slow Scan TV event this weekend. It's actually started about an hour ago, going through Sunday. So we're going to talk about that a little later when there's a little more people around. The International Space Station on 2-meter VHF is sending out slow scan TV pictures this weekend. Apart from that, well, this is a show about radio. We talk about everything that has to do with radio. Radios themselves. We talk about amateur radio topics, shortwave radio listening topics. We talk about anything that has a link somehow to radio, and sometimes we digress into whatever subject that we go through, and then we come back. Of course, we'll tune the bands. I have my SDR Play RSP1A running here with SDR Uno software, tuning the bands. We've got, I've actually got the Yaesu here. I actually intentionally parked it on 27025 CB channel 6, or what they call the Super Bowl channel. If there's some 11 meter activity during the show, we'll hear it there. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and this is a show we have every Fridays. 2000 hours Universal Time. That's equivalent to 3 p.m. Eastern in the East Coast of North America. There's a beautiful chat room with amazing people that are there to answer questions. If you have any questions about anything, about shortwave radio or radio in general, these guys and girls, we got a few, are happy to answer any questions. And of course, if I can answer something, I will also. There's always somebody that can answer at least one or a couple of your questions. It doesn't happen very often that somebody has no answers at all on a subject related to radio here. So welcome aboard, everybody. Sorry, still my lingering cough. Sorry. Of course, I'll have my trusty beer. Cheers, everybody. So there's, of course, nice people. Hey, we've reached a kind of a milestone in last week's show. Usually we're between, after a week, we're about at 1.5K. That's 1,500 viewers for the live show. The Friday show of last week, we've reached 2,000 views in a week. So more people were watching this week than ever before. And the channel is actually also being boosted by the fact that I now have my kind of daily radio tips, and you guys seem to enjoy that. Of course, these are going to continue. I'm thinking of adding also a daily DX tip, something that you should try and tune in. I think somebody has mentioned, well, you're going to give daily tips on radio subjects. It'd be fun to have a DX tip of the day, whatever signal you want us to tune in or try on your radio. So that might be coming next week, actually. That also means that the channels, the radio channels, both the shortwave one here and the VHF, UHF one, are going to have much more videos than there used to be. And many more videos of tips and stuff rather than just, my loggings and the live shows. I want to try to transform this in a much more interesting topic. I mean, it's not everybody that enjoys viewing whatever somebody else is listening to, but it is much more interesting for a lot of people to see the guy talk about something that could be helpful to them. So we're gonna check that out, and we've reached a milestone here on the Shortwave channel. So last week we passed 15,000 subscribers, which is pretty good for a Shortwave dedicated channel, honestly. If you think about it, 15,000 subs for a Shortwave dedicated channel is pretty amazing. And I'm having about 200, between 2 and 300 new subscribers every month lately on this channel, which is pretty nice. And 4 million views. We've just passed 4 million views on the Shortwave channel, which is cool when you think about it. I mean, Shortwave is very niche. You know, I mean, it's something that's not everybody is interested in. One thing that I'm kind of proud of is to have brought the Shortwave radio to a lot of young viewers that didn't know it existed and purchased their first radios. And if we can kind of bring more of these young viewers into the hobby, cool. I kind of like also the fact that a lot of seasoned amateur radio operators and shortwave listeners that, you know, they put their radio away for years, they stumble upon my live shows or some of my videos, and they're like, wow, you're giving me the idea of coming back into the hobby. I mean, some of you have said you hadn't done any amateur radio stuff or radio stuff in years, and you came back and started doing it again because there was something fun about it, the way that, you know, it's presented here. And I think one of the things that's very nice and will help out in the hobby is the fact that these live shows bring a lot of us together. For once, we're not alone. We are with a gang of people that love doing live shows, that love being together and talk about radio and listen to me blabber for 3 hours about whatever. But, you know, of course, all of that would not be possible thanks to you guys. So thanks for being here, and it's always fun to be here. So in the chat room, we have Joseph. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you on board. And so listening to past shows, I mentioned I have other YouTube channels. Yeah, I take care of 5 channels total. This one, the Shortwave official SWL channel, the official VHF UHF channel. There's a Windows and computer channel, which is the official Windows 8. The other one is an Insider, Windows Insider channel. So if you look for that, Windows Insider channel. And I've got a Fix-It channel, which is tech related, not computer necessarily. It could be tech related to daily technology tips and fixes, and I got some videos. I need to update some of those. There's a few things I want to try. I've been thinking of, there's a friend of mine that has a MacBook that she doesn't use. I was thinking of asking her if I could borrow it to add a little more Mac videos, because they're very popular in that channel, but it has to do with pretty much everything technology in general. Matambali, nice to have you on board from Colorado. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, Louisiana, WA5107 SWL is the call sign. Mark Cope, nice to have you on board, my friend. He's listening to the station KVOH in Rancho Simi, California on 17775. Dennis Bergitzi, nice to have you here from short listener from Southern Illinois. Bargitzi or something like that. I hope I got it not too bad. Hey Dennis, nice to have you here. You have Rough Duff McLeod, nice to have you on board from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada. Pretty cool. What else do we have here? Matambali has Voice of Hope 17775. S9 plus 10 says Mark Cope. Radioactive, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. He says 17775's S6. I don't know if it's still online. Let's try 17775 here. Am I getting anything? Nope. and I'm not sure it's still on the air, and I've got this really strong buzzing whatever that I wonder where it's coming from. Mark Cope has Boston Weather Facts on 12750. Radioactive as FT8 on 18100. Elton Byington, nice to have you here. K3JWA in Baltimore. Bought a couple of new Yaesu radios with his tax refund. Woohoo! Got a FT991A and an FT70D handheld. So this is cool. You know, that's a fun way to spend the tax refund with something we love. At least, you know, we don't give it all to the government. Some of it's coming back. Pretty cool. Dominican Republic on FT8 says radioactive. What do we have? Matambali has NMC, Point Reyes, California, 12786. Elton Byington says it's the first brand new rigs that he's ever got. Wow, this is nice. This is nice. You'll have the smell of brand new radio. That there's you know, it's like a new car. There's the smell of the new radio. You know. The Rock AD, nice to have you here. JD Williamson, nice to have you on board. Matambali, first question for Shell. Before he even gets here, before I forget, what are you using to charge those little lead acid batteries? I've got a it's actually a wall wart that was made to charge 12 volt lead acid batteries that I don't know where it comes from, and it's made for that. So all I have to do is, you know, I use the alligator clips and just charge the batteries. And then leave them. I can leave them plugged in because it just trickle charges, keeps them full charge if I want. But you can use depending on the batteries. A lot of them you can use almost any 12 volt rated power supply. What's mostly important with the lead acid batteries is not to overcharge. If you charge them too much, if the charge, for example, if the power adapter gives 15 volts, you know, sometimes those power adapters, they're not really precise, so they give 15 or 16 volts. The problem with that is it's going to charge the cells in the lead acid battery is going to overcharge. So the cells will register at 14 or 15 volts. That's going to destroy the battery really fast. Overcharging is really bad. Lead acid batteries do need quite good care to make sure that they last long. So overcharge is a killer. They will last. They won't even last a year with that. The other thing is do not bring them too low, close to zero, because if you do that, some of the cells can actually reverse polarity. That also is bad for a lead acid battery. So you've got to be very careful with that. And there is a cycle to keep and maintain, because lead acid batteries have one bad thing that can happen. They can actually grow crystals inside them that actually make these batteries kind of last not very long, because it adds kind of resistance to the current. And they do come out of an old UPS, or a UPS that used to work before and broke down. There was like I don't know how many, but there was like tons. There's a lot of them in that UPS. So those do come from that. But before I had the ones that I have here, I think I got one here next to me. So this is the one I was showing in the video. Before I had those. And it does say UPS here, by the way. Before I had those, I purchased in the electronics store where I go buy my wire for antennas and stuff. They sell lead acid batteries at different ratings, anywhere from, I think the lower they have is 2.5 amp hour, and they have up to 40, 50 amp hour. Of course, the more amp hour you choose, the longer the radios are going to run off of the batteries. So that's something to remember. Mark Cope says K-index lower than advertised. Maybe it will hold up for the show. Let's hope. I was listening to well, look at that noise, man. I was listening to Voice of America 15580 with an amazing signal just before the show out of Botswana. Nick Amadou, nice to have you here from Romania. Texan PL 680, nice to have you on board. Says everyone, pull out your radios and get your SDRs ready. Yeah. Kevin J, nice to have you on board. DE1DJK, nice to have you on board. And release from North Korea, Germany. Jack, nice to have you here. N9IIF, PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Toujours un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous au Québec. Daddy-da, nice to have you on board, my Morse code friend. Radio Comms, nice to have you on board from windy Northern Ireland. It's very windy here. We are having this afternoon, there's a wind warning. We could have gusts up to 100 kilometers per hour this afternoon. So if everything goes dark suddenly, which never happens usually, but who knows. Ray Erdink, nice to have you on board from Leeds in the UK. Michael Biernacki, nice to have you on board. The world is waiting for me. Well, maybe not the world, but at least some world. Kevin J says, join the Canadian DS Club. You mentioned cheap, great information, $10 a year. Absolutely. $25 for 3 years. I actually have the cover of this month's CIDX Messenger. February edition is out. So if you are subscribed to the Canadian International DX Club, this is the February edition of the cover of the February edition of the CIDX Messenger. Some really nice articles in here. So really a lot of stuff. I have a utility column, the world of utilities, and there's many other columns. There's a QSL column from Mickey Dalmage that often comes to the chat room here from Alberta. He has this QSL column. Sheldon is the head president of CIDX. If you want to have a sample copy, cidxclub@yahoo.com, cidxclub@yahoo.com. Don't ask for more than one. And if you enjoy it, $10 a year or $25 for 3 years. Lots of really cool information, and it's cheap. Absolutely, it's not very expensive, and it's not because it's a Canadian International DX Club that it's just for Canada. It's a general club and a general information for everybody. Calvin, nice to have you on board, my friend. Mike Anna 261, nice to have you here. Simon Templar, nice to have you on board. David Green, cool to see you on board from Lexington, Kentucky. Michael Langer, nice to have you on board. Yeah. There's Kat Lovasco, nice to have you on board. William Conlon, nice to have you here from Ireland. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here. Yep, Big Truck delivered the beer. Radioactive beer is related to radio. Yeah, somehow. Hey, Mick, nice to have you on board from Leicester. Pronounced Leicester. Okay. In the UK. Nice to have you here. You know, there's so many pronunciations of all these things, and you know, it's like when somebody asks me between the pronunciation of French Québécois and French from France, there's a lot of words that have a different pronunciation. It's not always, and you know, in English not being my native language also. Somebody was sent me an email the other day saying, wow, you know what, for somebody that didn't speak English from the start and learned it through life because his first language is French, you gotta speak English really well. And I'm like, well, you know, I did speak it a lot and used it a lot for a while, so, and now I'm using it again, so, you know. Texan PL 680, please start a shortwave broadcast for the airwaves that you're doing. Opera singing Phantom of the Opera would be a good choice on first broadcast. Darth Cat Lavasco is from Ireland. Howard Leon, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Tron F, nice to have you on board from Norway. I've been catching you for a while. Last got a live show. My name is Carl. Have 2 ham radios, but no license yet. So let's make it that we both get our licenses this year. I'm gonna get mine, and you get yours. Maybe we'll be able to communicate on the air. What else do we have? Hey, how to get this program? What program? What else do we have? What else do we have? David Snyder, nice to have you on board. Listening to Spain, 9690. Let's check it out. 9690. 9690. Pretty good. In Spain, that will have today, Friday, the English language broadcast at 2300 UT. Sorry, not 2300. So that's gonna be cool. Mark Fisher, nice to have you on board from Garville, Illinois. Nice to have you here, of course. What do we have? Radioactive says here in traffic on 27035 Skip. Cool. Kevin J is just about 10 miles from the Ham Radio Amcation Convention in Orlando. Sunny and 80 Fahrenheit. That would be, let's do the show from outside temperature. Texan PL 680, daily DX tip would be perfect. Cool. David Steiner says, really like your daily radio tips. Idea of a DX tip would be great. Cool. Simon Demblar says, cheers as Simon holds a beer glass up and takes a virtual drink. So, cheers. Eddie Essex, nice to have you on board from Sarnia, Ontario. Fraser Mickle, nice to have you from Miami, Florida. Rob Webster, nice to have you here from UK. David Arden, nice to have you on board. Says I'm experienced in many of the tips you have sent. Nevertheless, I do enjoy them very much. I am not too experienced to learn. In these tips, there are tips that a lot of us know. There are tips that some of you know. There are tips that some of you don't know. And in these tips, and by the way, if anybody wants to send me a tip of something, please do. I'll use it. Any ideas are welcome. But I know that even if we've been listening for a long time, there's always that tip one day that's like, wow, I didn't know that. And, we don't know everything. D1 DJK, yesterday I heard all in the radio English service, 9440. Yeah, it was probably 9445, I would guess. But as their frequency, 34333. So nice. What else do we have? Max Edstrong, nice to have you here. Mark Cope, African Pathways, sounding very good in English, 11965. Let's check it out. 965. Yeah. With some music at the moment, really, really nice. Ralph Bender, nice to have you on board from Germany. Dennis Bargitzi says, Shortwave is trending. Let's hope. What else do we have? Sheldon Harvey, bonjour et bienvenue. Welcome to the show from Greenfield Park, Quebec. And there is always something to learn. Absolutely, Madame Bali. Always something to learn for sure. That's for sure. The E1 DJK says, people say shortwave is empty. Should I have left? Yes, you should. I've seen it this week, and what I hate mostly, and shortwave is so different than it was in the past, and we have to admit it, but there's tons of things out there still. And in the Facebook group this week, somebody was saying, somebody said, I got this radio and all I hear is, religious broadcasters in Cuba, and that's it. and somebody posted, well, there's nothing on Shortwave anymore, and even WWV is going away now. So I had to post. I was like, okay, first of all, WWV is not going away. Okay? Stop sharing that fake news. Second of all, there's a lot of stuff to listen to still. Of course, if you come from the 80s and you haven't listened for 30 years, yeah, you'll be shocked. But there is still some stuff to listen to, and you need to turn around, tune that dial. There's stuff, you got to tune it. And, I think one of the major problems right now is too many people, and that is probably the number one problem of shortwave. Too many people live in a high noise environment. The signals they might be hearing are actually washed out within the noise where they live. That's the problem. What else do we have? Radioactive says -3 snowing in Oregon. Max Headstrong says, you have reignited my love for shortwave. Cool. That's what I want to do. Yeah, Radio Netherlands and Jonathan Marks, absolutely, David Arden. Luis Arevalo, nice to have you on board. Any YouTube awards? No, not yet. I'm still not popular enough, I guess. I'm on my way to reach 100,000 subscribers on the tech channel. That I have. I calculated that somewhere in August of this year, I should have reached 100,000 subscribers on my tech channel. 100,000 subscribers on a channel is a pretty good thing, actually. And even here, 15,000 subs is pretty good. Texan PL680 says, the live show always forces me to put the radio out. Absolutely. You need to be prepared. Keegan, good afternoon. Nice to have you on board from Northwest Arkansas. Dennis says, how many are here just to see Paul? William Conlon says, hello from South Ireland. Nice to have you here. Bon Geist, nice to have you here from Long Island, New York. Mike Wood from Manchester M0CSI in the UK. Pretty cool. Yes, a lot of Europe around, absolutely. Eddie SX says, does your SDR Uno ever get chuffing where it jumps up and down? Mine all morning using our SP1A. You've got to make sure your PC doesn't do too many other things at the same time as the Uno is running. For example, if I would be clicking on the web browser, Google Chrome, it would actually mute and kind of have some problems with continuing or streaming what I'm listening to. It doesnn't require too much power, but it does require that your PC isn't too much hogged by other processes around it. So if you run SDR Uno and you're doing just that, try to make sure that there's the least amount of things running on the PC at the same time you're running SDR Uno, or else you will have some little problems from time to time. It depends, of course, on the power of your PC. For example, if I run it on the same PC that I'm actually streaming right now, I can open, do other things, and it's okay. It works fine. But on a PC like this one, which is an old Core 2 Duo, it actually requires me to just leave it alone as much as I can. Carl, nice to have you here from New York City. Artists on the Crafter's Kitchen, nice to have you on board. And says, usually I'm at work when the show is live, but a surgical procedure in the morning. Hope everything went well, my friend. NL13851, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Matt, UK, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Let's go down as fast as we can. Pretty far in the chat as usual. As usual. Okay. What else do we have? Frédéric F4 ECA, bonjour. Nice to have you on board from France. Brett Wayne, nice to have you on board from Salamanca, New York. KC2 and XP. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here, Brian. And says this was a good morning for antenna photography because the heavy snow made the wires easy to see. Here we had freezing rain this week, and my wire was so easy to see with the ice around it a little bit. Do I use a balun? Yes, there's a 9-to-1 on my antenna. It is a iron-fed commercial antenna that viewer actually sent me, and has a 9-to-1 balun. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you on board. W8SWL from Northern Michigan. Pretty cool. Just came back to town from 20 miles of ice road trucking. What else do we have? So there's some skip on the West Coast, apparently, according to Radioactive. Oh yeah, you can use a UPS. They've taught, nice to have you here, by the way. You can absolutely use a UPS if you want to power everything, absolutely. Red Wade says, love the smell of new radio in the morning. Do you know that new perfume I bought? I got the best, not new radio. Ray Erdink, what about a power bank made out of 18650? Are these suitable? Yeah, you know, the thing is, any type of power bank, because you can make your own with rechargeable batteries, or the idea behind it, what I like about lead acid batteries is they're very low maintenance and they are very powerful. So I can power, you know, my ICOM for hours with one. When you use, it depends on the radios you'll use to when you want to stay, you know, live. So of course, depending on the type of battery you use to have more or less power. A portable radio requires a lot less power than a tabletop, for example. So, you know, there are things like that. So depending on what you will power, yeah, why not? Texan PL680, do you recommend using rechargeable batteries or something like that in the Texan PL680? I recommend that because over the long term it costs less money, especially if you use it a lot. Alkaline batteries, you know, you got to buy them all the time. Rechargeables, well, you just recharge the batteries, and what I like is having several. You know, I got 16 Amazon Basics like these, which are NIMH 20. These are 2100 milliamp. There's some more powerful 2500. And thing is, I have 16 of those, and I try to keep them all charged the best I can. So, for example, on a Texan PL680, I'll pop in 4, and if I listen to for a very long time, and I mean these last a long time in a PL680, when they're fully charged, you do a full day of radio listening easily. But you know, just in case, you keep the others ready, just so that you can you know, pop in new rechargeables if the other ones you know, just go berserk. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. DE1 DJK says, in Germany we have poor propagation past days on lower bands, difficult to pick up some DX. 80 meter band was very quiet last night, and the night before I tuned a little bit. It was really surprised at how bad it was. What else do we have? Billy Laptop, nice to have you on board. Trond F says, say hi to Mr. Cat. By the way, what kind of SDR dongle do you use? I have 2 of RTL SDR and an Android dongle, but can't seem to understand how they work. What kind of software do you use? So this is actually not a dongle. It's a radio called the SDR Play RSP1A. It's a little black box, and it's a 1 kilohertz to 2 gigahertz wideband receiver. And it is amazing. If you're looking for something of an SDR that actually is easy to set up and works. The SDR, all the SDR Play software-defined radios are amazingly good for that. So that's what I use here, and the software I use there is SDR Uno. That is actually made to run with SDR Play. For the RTL SDR, what you need is mostly to understand most of the cheap RTL SDR or dongles do not cover shortwave, most of them. It depends what you will have as a dongle. And even the ones that you can kind of, trick into going to shortwave, nobody has a really good performance out of it. So you either need to go with one that has a up converter for the shortwave band, or I'm kind of a sucker now for the SDR Play stuff because it's easy to set up and it's truly amazing. The RSP1A is $109 US. I mean, the performance you get out of that is just crazy, just crazy. Simon Templar says, take a look at BNO batteries, BLF 1220WA Slick. Okay, check that out. Dave Todd, yeah, Canadian Tire, but they charge too much. Canadian Tire is expensive. Yes, trickle charge is okay to keep the batteries on top shape, but you do need to do cycles from time to time. You can't keep them in charge forever. They do require you to do a cycle from time to time to make sure that you get all these electrons moving and keep them in good shape. D1 DJK 15145 Radio Havana. Listening with his Texan DR920C in a real antenna. Cool. Nice little radio. But the RSP1A is an amazing, just like David Snyder says, really an amazing thing. Hey, Fastlow, nice to have you here. David Schneider says, would you ever come to the North American Winterfest later this month? I will not be there this year. I had talks with Sheldon that is going and all, and I mean I would have a place and all, but there's a little something complicated. But I am checking out all the details of what I need, and there's a very, very high chance that I will be part of the Winterfest in next year, in 2020. And if I am there, one of the things I will set up is a live show from the Winterfest. So I'll check all the details this year. There's a few little complicated things that I need to sort out, and once that is done, I will be there. That's for sure. William Collins says, Sanjin ATS 909X. Frequency insertion, would you? I don't quite understand the question. Radioactive, Voice of America, 15730. I believe they're in French. 15730. Anything here? Nothing here on 15730. Nothing much. What else we have? You know what, Fastload? It's some kind of power supply. It's all. This was not there a month ago. This appeared in my SDR, and within the last month, I've got new neighbors. I suspect they have some device or something that's creating a lot of noise, or some switching power supply somewhere that's really creating a major problem. I don't know. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And there's something I'm going to try to. I just thought of something here. What about if I disconnect this? Nope. Okay. I just switched off the power bar. That doesn't change the pattern, so it doesn't come from here. I don't know. It's from something around us, but it doesn't come from here. That's for sure. I don't have anything new, anyways, plugged in. I think it's there. And this wasn't there a month ago. I've got some new noises now that wasn't even there a month ago. Matthew Wells, nice to have you here. This one has Windows 7 on it, but I work it on a Windows 10 laptop. Works great in Windows 10 also. B, nice to have you on board, Tim. Jill, it's taking you a long time to shake off that horrible cold. Are you keeping an eye out for that new Rady Wow R108? Yeah, well, taking it out, taking a look at it. Yeah. As for the cold, yeah, I've got a when I get something that gets stuck in the lungs, it always takes a long time for me to get it better. But it's slowly going out. I'm better than I was, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. What else do we have? Random Hobbies. Hey, Sputnik. Nice to have you on board. Not often is here, but how's your studying for amateur radio coming? I haven't studied yet, but you know what? It's coming. Don't worry, guys. I will be there. Nice to see you, Random Hobbyist. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, Rudder Stare and Shortwave is kind of the annoying stuff of the Shortwave bands, but yeah, absolutely, Radioactive. Don't worry, when I get my license, there are going to be a lot of amateur radio related videos, that's for sure. Keegan has WWVS4. By the way, the clock here is perfectly set today, so if you wanna check out the delay between the feed and me and you. So Kevin Wood, nice to have you on board. Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you here. Etc. says just installed remote control cables on his AOR LA400 active loop antenna. Plays the loop element in Windows, significant improvement, very happy. Cool. Problems storing memories and the Sangean 909X. Huh. Is it because you're not really sure how to punch them in? Maybe if it's a problem, maybe you could reset the radio if it's just a problem with the radio itself. I would have to check that out. It's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same way as the original DX398. Maybe I should make a video about it. But check the manual to make sure. PLF Radio says was in the countryside for several days. Heard BPM on 5 megahertz for the first time. Wow, BPM is the Chinese time signal. Now I have trouble to hear it since it came back to the big city. Yeah, I know. That's the problem with the city. Can tell you that. Can tell you. Have you on board? Joe, I forgot what I said before. Is all about noise. Yeah, absolutely. In a city, it's just crazy. The noise we have. I mean, when I move away from the E1, DJK says can't receive WWV in Germany. It's mostly noise related, probably, because WWV is often reported even in Europe. Often. Radioactive has 15825 WWCR. Pretty cool. Ham radio will never go away. Absolutely, Brad Wayne. You're totally right on that. Hey, DeVaults. Nice to have you on board from Latvia. Tim. Nice to have you on board. Man. Radioactive has a Hawaii weather fax on 16133.1. Let me just check it out for the fun of it. 133. I don't think it. You never know what you can hear. Well, nothing here. But would have been nice to hear a Hawaii weather fax. Even if it would be very, very slow. Very, very, in the noise, very low noise. or high noise or low signal. Elton Byington says, point out the CPU loading bars in the main SDR window. They are now PC CPU activity as SDR activity. Yeah, absolutely. On the left side, you get the activity. It's just the system and the SDR activity. The problem is the SDR itself doesn't take that much power to work on a PC. It's really the PC itself and all the software. And it's surprising, but Google Chrome browser is a hog in resource. I mean, they would need to rewrite that thing to make it more sleek, because it's a hog of computer resource. Matam Bali has World Harvest Radio, WHRR in 17815. Bullfrog 89. No, I actually haven't tried this week. Completely got out of my mind. Don't forget, guys, I will mention it now. By the way, that there is some slow scan TV activity on the International Space Station this weekend. It started a couple of hours ago, and it's going through Sunday, February the 10th, 1800 UTC. So they are sending a series of pictures in slow scan television. I plan on decoding a few of them and posting them on the VHF channel when I have some time. So what you need is a scanner radio that can tune 145.800. You need to know when the International Space Station is above you, when it will pass over your area where you live, and it's a regular FM mode signal. Use any software to decode slow scan TV. MMSS TV is one. Robot 36 is another one for portable devices, and you'll decode those pictures. And it's surprisingly easy to receive the International Space Station, even with a little portable scanner. So 145.800 is where you'll listen to that. And check that out. They're doing that all through the weekend. So today, tomorrow, and up to 1800 hours UTC Sunday. Slow scan TV pictures being sent on 145.800 from the International Space Station. Sakura DX, nice to have you on board from Japan. Archers Out of Crafters says non-PLL radio will run virtually forever on lead acid. Oh, absolutely. A portable radio will run forever on a lead acid battery, I can tell you that. Raymond Challenger, nice to have you on board from windy West Yorkshire. Pretty cool. D1 DJK says, after the big brands have gone, Texan is the best brand around for analog and PLL wall band receivers. Absolutely. Texan makes some really good stuff. Ahmed Elbaz, nice to have you on board. SU1AM. Nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Vault says, only benefits of lead acid batteries, they are relatively cheap and not a fire hazard like lithium. Absolutely. Absolutely. They are very cheap and low maintenance. The only thing, don't short the terminals, because you'll get a hell of a surprise. But they are very, very good. Lithium batteries are the more dangerous one. You got to be careful with those. But lead acid batteries are inexpensive and they're really, really nice. They're almost, there's almost zero maintenance to those things. Almost. There's a little you got to do, but not too much, Ray Erdink loves his SDR Play 2 Pro and SDR Uno. Pretty cool. Take care, Keegan. Kevin Wood uses an SDR IQ. William Collin, Sanjay ATS 909X, great radio except storing and pages. Why are all the new radios going page and not channels? Well, it depends on the radio, but it's because the thing is, you can program in so many details and pages compared to just channels, but it makes the entering of frequencies kind of difficult. It's so funny because in almost all of all of the shortwave radios I've had, I've almost never programmed frequencies. So Mark Cope, listening to NHK, yeah, 9855 from Madagascar, I believe. Yep. Radio Japan in French from Madagascar, really, 9855. What? Pretty good.
Je sais ce que je disais en gens, je sais que ça m'apporte beaucoup de plaisir, je sais que je peux arriver à vendre mes services et qu'il est modèle pour ça.
Moi-même trouver sa place dans le domaine du développement des ressources humaines.
It's interesting because the French that she speaks is Québécois French. It sounds Québécois French. Yes, absolutely. I know the battery will power the FT450D. Absolutely, Simon. Absolutely. Minnow Poo, nice to have you here. And no, not too bad. I'm kind of used to it, so now I'm not bad. But yeah, if I do this all day, I probably will have a sore neck. David Steiner says, I can't go this year either, because I just started a new job. My son lives 20 minutes away, going to medical school. Capital City and Professionals, nice to have you on board from Lansing, Michigan. Do you know the internet? That's what I just was talking until Sunday. Absolutely. Some slow scan TV pictures throughout the weekend. Hey Matt, KE0SFC, nice to have you on board, my friend. Ray Erding, question about Lou antenna. Are they worth the price? I fancy one, but worried by one and it no better. Understand any antenna can be good or bad depending on location. I know that almost everybody that has one of those seems to enjoy much better the reception because of lower noise. But I have to say that I have seen examples where a loop did not improve anything. So it all depends on your location, on the type of noise you've got. But almost everybody that I see that have one of those seem to enjoy really amazing reception, I gotta say. You know what, David? Let's make it an objective. A goal for you and me, David Snyder. We'll make it a goal to go to the Shortwave Fest next year in Pennsylvania. I'll work my way to have everything ready so I'll be there next year. And of course I'll let you know. So if you can make it, it will be nice to meet you. Absolutely. I got a lot of people that said, "Hey man, I would love you to be there. I'm going to be there, and I would love to meet you in person." So I gotta go there for sure. Fastload says LED lighting are the worst. Yeah, they are. Some of them are bad. That's why I purchased many brands of LED lights. The ones that I have here that are Philips branded have and do not create any noise on the radios. Even on my portable radios, the only noise I'll get is I got to be really close to the light bulb itself. So DE1 DJK VOA uses a lot of relay stations around the world. Difficult to find out which ones. Go on the website like eibispace.de or short-wave.info. They show you and tell you which relay they are using when they broadcast. Antoine Gamit, nice to have you on board from Accra in Ghana. K3DY. Wow, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lots of stuff to listen to over there. Chris Alpha Tango, nice to have you on board, my friend. Oh, touch lamps are horrible, Alton Byington. I remember a long time ago when I lived with my mom, she had purchased new touch lamps because she found them cute. And I remember when she plugged them in, the buzzing going nuts on my radios. And I remember I told her, is the touch part of the lamp important? And she looked at me, she says, no, not really, I just find them cute. I said, okay, I'll open the lamp and I'll put a manual switch, an on-off switch, okay? And we'll bypass the touch stuff. And she said, I don't mind as long as they work. As long as So I opened the lamp, I removed that touch thing, and I just put a regular on-off switch. Everything was back to quiet. I was happy. I mean, when she plugged that in, it's like, whoa, that was crazy. David Arden, when I get a license, wants a QSL. Absolutely, absolutely. Someday we'll have the official ham radio channel. we'll mix in the ham radio stuff with here. You know, we'll mix in the HF portion of the ham radio stuff in this channel, and 2 meter and 70 centimeter and all of that stuff we'll mix in with the VHF channel. I think it's the best thing to do, honestly, and mix that all out. And don't worry, because I get these people that tell me all the time, yeah, but you know, I'm afraid that once you get your license, you're gonna stop doing shortwave stuff. No, I'm not. Don't worry about that. It's not gonna happen. What else do we have? Yes, I need that license. Absolutely, fast load. Absolutely. We didn't talk. We should have talked more before when you got that ham course. I would have been nice to do it together. Christopher Coleman, nice to have you here. Chris, G6JNL from the UK. What is your thoughts on number stations? They're cool to listen to. And this is, you know, it's one of those mysteries of what they are sending and who is out there listening. But it's kind of cool, and there's quite a lot of number stations on the air also. And I don't know, it's the mystery of being part of what is possibly some spy somewhere listening to these things and knowing what's happening and having, you know, the mystery all behind it is kind of the fun part also of all of that, for sure. Yeah, vaults, that is a good idea, absolutely, and I did think about that, and how to prepare for the license exam. Absolutely, that would help others, you know, get into the ham hobby also, for sure. For sure. What else do we have? Kevin J, what are the top 3 books on shortwave that all should own as a guide tool? Well, there's so much online research today that I'm not a big fan of books anymore. And I know some people will just say, hey, the World Radio TV Handbook. Yes and no. I'm sorry, but yes and no. And I'll get angry people sending me bad emails every time I say that. I mean, the World Radio TV Handbook is a great resource for information about the stations out there and how to contact and everything. I unfortunately cannot recommend the World Radio TV Handbook to anybody that's new to the shortwave. It's not meant for that audience. But what I would say, first of all, go on the internet. There's so much resource. Shortwavelistening.com, SWLING.com is an amazing source of information for any shortwave listener. One magazine that's really, really nice, and I talk about it regularly, is the Spectrum Monitor, which is a very nice magazine that you can subscribe. It's an electronic publication. Anybody that remembers monitoring times, it's pretty much the same feel and actually there's half of the people in there are people that were writing for monitoring times. There's a CIDX messenger. You can, of course, check out the messenger from the Canadian International DX Club, which is very nice. And there's an online resource. It's available on Amazon. It's Gail Van Horn shortwave listening guide. It's the shortwave listening guide. It comes out every 6 months. Right now it's the winter 2018-19 version, and has a lot of information for people that are new to the hobby, and it's very inexpensive. It's an electronic publication, but it is very inexpensive. It's like, you know, $8 or something like that. Not very, very expensive. Several hundred pages of information on shortwave stuff. So that could be a good thing also. But there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, I can tell you that. Ray Erding, 11965 is Madagascar World Voice. That's what you were listening to. For sure. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's go down. D-Raf, nice to have you on board from Todd out Kingston, New York. Yeah, we had a brief above zero last night, and now we're back down. Joe Sombra Newhouse, nice to have you on board from Brazil. Glad to know the International Space Station is active on SSTV. Yes, please, please. Michael Walker, nice to have you here. G4IJI. What else do we have? What else do we have? You know, as long as the SDR Uno software is running alone, and you're not asking too much. Like for example here, I couldn't bring the 10 megahertz spectrum. That PC isn't powerful enough to bring it up. But on my i5, my Core i5, it's okay. It works fine. So you know, you'll be limited a little bit on depending on the PC's power. That's for sure. But it's surprising how SDR Uno doesn't take a lot of power out of the PC. Dan Peterson, nice to have you here. Traffic on 3931 from Amateur Radio Operators. Bobby Burgess, I modify my Chromebook with a Linux distro and it runs well on it. Radioactive as probably Radio Marti. 9565 is probably Radio Marti. If that's what you hear, that's Radio Marti. Radio Super Dulce Amor is much weaker than that here. Fanny Xenakis, nice to have you here. Gunpowder Stealth, nice to have you on board from the UK. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's go down, let's go down, let's go down. NDRC, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. For the Winterfest. Casper Peterson, nice to have you on board, my friend, from the Nordic countries. What else do we have? What else do we have? You know what? D1 DJK says he gave up his on AM radio. His license but inactive. I know one thing. I will be a much more active in the HF spectrum. Honestly, what interests me in the shortwave hobby will probably be much more the shortwave spectrum. You know, anywhere from 160 to 10 meters and maybe some 6 meter stuff. I don't expect to be very active on 2 meters. If I am, I'll probably be active with fast load on 2 meters because I don't really see myself much on the higher bands, honestly. Maybe there could be some interest in, you know, satellite communication, stuff like that. So Ray Erding, my current antenna is a long wire around the garden with tuner and a long wire in the loft, and happy with it. You know what? You will. Okay, here's the thing, Ray. If you have reasonably low noise You're not going to get more with a loop. It all depends on the noise level that you have. You know, some places are very, very low noise. If you are in a low noise environment, a long wire antenna will definitely receive more than a loop. It's all in the signal to noise ratio that's happening. People hear more with a loop because they have less noise. But if you look at the same signal, it's often not as strong as on a long wire. It's just that the long wire picks up a lot of noise, so often washes out the signal. So that's why the loops are, you know. Brett Wayne says, if I go to Fest in Pennsylvania next year, we'll see you there in 2020. No problem, we'll have a meetup. We'll have a meetup. I promise I will work all the things out so that I can be there next year. Kevin, what is VE1 TV? Raymond Sinclair, nice to have you here. Ray Erding says, I got my license reinstated after a few years absent to find a UK at changed rules. I'm covered for HF, UHF, VHF, and 400 watts. Was so surprised and happy. Cool. That is cool. Passport to the World Band Radio was nice for the newbie. Anybody that was a newbie, it's really a great. It was really a great book for that, and the radio reviews they had, the explanations, the blue pages, even though they were getting updated fast, were still nice. And Passport to World Band Radio was nice because in an era where there was no internet schedules available, it was our source of schedules, and it was nice. It was nice for that, honestly. Yes, Rob Webster, you and me need to get our AM license soon, for sure. For sure. Radioactive as WWCR in English, S9 on 9980. Fanning Zanakis, yep, 145-800. You need to have the International Space Station pass over your head. Very important. Very important. Okay? Because you will not hear it at all, for sure. Yeah, Evans Above is a great place to see where the International Space Station is. Absolutely. I use an app which is Evans Above on Android. That so, for example, if I start it up here on my tablet, I use an app that is Evans Above, and there's a free version which is ad supported, and there's a pro version which is just removing the ads, and it looks like this. So basically I will have this on the screen, and on the left side you've got ISS. You can click there and you know when the International Space Station will come through around you. So the next pass, for example, is 35 degrees at 4:30 in 20 minutes. Then there's another pass at 6 p.m. So tomorrow, you see, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I have 3 occasions before the show starts. So I'm going to check that out tomorrow and post my results of International Space Station slow scan TV stuff for sure. So it's kind of nice just to have that. Security of the X, some people put salt on the path. So what do we have? The E1 DJK says, most of my VHF UHF DX I did from high mountains in different parts of the country. So I needed 4 years to fulfill conditions to get the diplomas of the DRC. Matambali, lots of FT8 on 10137. Al Catalan, nice to have you here. Don Stefano, nice to have you on board from Frankfurt, Germany. David Arden says loops are very frequency sensitive, IQ factor. If you tune your radio more than a few kilohertz, You have to retune your loop, but they are easy to set up. Cool. DE1 DJK says, as a shortwave listener, my diploma, I'm proud. It's the AGDX diploma. But it has to work 100 radio stations from 100 countries. Wow. That's cool. That's cool. That's a lot of work, I gotta tell you that. What else do we have? Matt says the W6 LVP is low frequency, high frequency, LFHF. No cabin series, not sure how those work. Wellbrook line of loops are the same way. PLF radio uses the same Evans above app. It's a great app for that, for sure. DN Suro or DNS Uro, nice to have you here from Arizona. Pretty cool. I'm not set up. Let me just, you guys would like that, right? Let's okay, let's check out something here. MMSSTV is installed here, I believe. You guys would like that, to try the code of the International Space Station? I think it's here. Yeah, I got MMSSTV here. So okay, guys, look at that. I'm gonna switch the antenna. I'm gonna switch the antenna, and we're gonna try it. Okay. So the International Space Station is coming for a pass, and I'm just going to switch from my shortwave antenna to my VHF antenna on the SDR play, and that will give me the capability to listen to the International Space Station. Well, here we go. So I've just switched antenna, and you can see that I'm still receiving signals on shortwave even with that VHF antenna there. And I'm going to tune 145.800, 145.800, put it in FM mode, and well, we're going to wait for the International Space Station. I will put MMSSTV here, because we're going to decode using this. So of course it's all going to go with this. I'll set it, this is about the level I'll set it. So okay, we're going to leave it there. And the International Space Station is about to pass in exactly 10 minutes. Is going to start its pass over here. So rises at at 22. So 9 minutes from now, will peak at 27, 23. So at 35 degrees, it's not a high pass, but I should still get something. So you guys are going to see a slow scan TV decode live from the International Space Station. We're going to try that. Stephen Worth, nice to have you here. New to your channel, new to shortwave, and I'm loving it. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here for that. Jeffrey Kropp, nice to have you on board, my friend from muddy New Hampshire. What else do we have? 145.800 fast load. 145.800 plus or minus Doppler shift. That's where it's going to be. Al Catalan, any tips on building a mag loop antenna from some thick copper tube? What about the double loop? There's one. If you Google magnetic loop construction, there's a ham radio that has a easy design that you can do yourself if you want to try it, and it literally cost no more than a couple of like 20-30 bucks to make. So the guy from Ghana is Antoine K3DY, Casper Peterson. Maybe he's not watching right now, but Antoine from he's in Ghana right now. Matt says, I've got the local passes for the ISS program in HDSDR just because I can put multiple and frequency specific. I'll be getting it before you, but it will be low. It's not going to be very high here, but it's going to be nice. So we're gonna check it out. Yeah, there's the AFC. Actually, there's an AFC setting here that that can be used, but also vaults. It's not set up right now, but I can actually use computer control. So I could be using Orbitron, for example, or Ham Radio Deluxe satellite tracker. And you can actually emulate a COM port like on the ICOM and have it automatically adjust the Doppler shift. It's just that it's not set up here, which I should do actually. FM narrow, James Hauser, absolutely, FM narrow. So, but yes, you can actually you can have the software for the satellite actually control SDR Uno for the Doppler shift if you want. Absolutely. Texan PL680 is awesome. I feel like I'm in the movie 2001 Space Odyssey right now. So I can't wait. I hope they are transmitting, because I can't wait to see what's going to be the picture too. What I hate sometimes is that you get a pass where the pictures are kind of you're in the, you get half of one and half another one instead of a full picture. Remember, if you hear it, if it's overhead and you don't hear nothing, there's like a 30-second or a minute pause between each pictures. So you might be in that period where it's not transmitting, but you'll hear it transmit. I'm using MMSSTV on Windows here to decode. It actually will detect the mode automatically. So 145.800 is the frequency. The slow scan television from the International Space Station will be until 1820 UTC Sunday. After 1820 UTC, it's they're going to stop apparently. So what else do we have? What else do we have? So we are waiting for the International Space Station. Don Stefano, cool. My first ISS live contact. What else do we have? I heard voice communications with schools from the International Space Station that were pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, the packet on 145825, I guess. Yeah, absolutely, Matambali. These would be nice to match on the VHF UHF show. Absolutely, absolutely. But we're radio related, so it's okay. C. Johnson, nice to have you on board. Yeah, it's something like that, Matt. Like a minute break or maybe 90 seconds. But there is a break in between each image, for sure. 145-800, Jerry, not 825. It's 145-800. 825 is the regular ham packet station. It's 145.800. John Jensen, K9WXX, nice to have you here. So we're gonna check it out. Yes, when they do have some activity. Actually, the pictures they are sending now is to actually kind of talk about the the pictures are for the amateur contacts over the years. So this is going to be interesting to see. So it's still below the horizon here. So should have something happening soon. I'll put the level a little higher. You know what? When it's going to send, I will. I'm going to send is put the volume a little higher, so maybe you guys can even decode it through the stream. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Radio's radio. David Arden. Matt is tuned. Let me know if you get it a little before me if you're hearing it. Let's hope that it's working. I haven't seen any any posts yet of people hearing it. So my elevation right now will be 35 degrees. I'll have another pass at 6:04 p.m. local, which is 23:04. That one is 60 degrees. That could be good. Yep, until 18:25 UTC Sunday. Rob Wagner, good morning. Nice to have you on board. Yes, you're at the right time. 18:30 UTC, February 10th. That's it. Okay, at 13 I should have something. My vertical antenna is actually good enough that even at 13 degrees I would hear. It would be noisy, but I would hear. At 35 I should have a signal. At 35 I should have a signal. So I'm going to check out the. Let's put the. Let's zoom in on the frequency. Here we go. And we'll see. So with the Doppler shift, it's probably going to be like 805 or something when it starts. And we'll check that out. So here we are. I'm waiting for anything. And we'll try to. Let's move the frequency. Let's move this here. And let's put the. Oops. MMSSTV will be here. So it's going to be interesting to see if I get something. Technically, it's starting to appear above the horizon here. It's to the northwest, very low to the northwest right now. Jerry, I'm using MMSSTV, which is my favorite. I prefer MMSSTV than RXSSTV, personally. Yes, it is. It sometimes happens, Matt. Absolutely. Sometimes it's later than advertised, or sometimes something happens aboard the International Space Station and they don't do it. So we'll see. But I should be at 35. If they are transmitting, I should be hearing something. That's for sure. We just put the volume down here. Put a little more volume here. So we're waiting patiently for possible International Space Station pictures. Yeah, Valtz. The Death Star took out the ISS. Oh, Darth Vader. Absolutely, maybe that's what happened. So Matt, you had nothing? Okay. It's possible that it's not transmitting yet. I would, it's right now, it's 15 degrees, 16 above the horizon in the northwest. I should be having something if it transmits. It really should be, whoops, I'm going to lower that here. I just noticed that I'm not on narrow. There we go, this is better. I hear the packet. I don't know if you guys see it, but there's packet on 145.825. There's 2 packets that were sent out. So I do get the packet from the 145.825. But they don't seem to be sending out a slow scan TV. So one thing for sure is that they're not doing it, because I would be hearing it. If there's one thing I receive extremely well, is the International Space Station with my vertical. So they're not broadcasting SSTV right now. So I guess we'll have to maybe we'll try at the 6 p.m. one, but they're not broadcasting right now. I did see 2 or 3 packets sent on 145.825, which is their packet frequency, but nothing is heard on 145.800. So there's definitely no slow scan TV right now from the International Space Station. If there would be, I would see it here. So maybe next. You see that? You see this thing here? That's packet from the International Space Station. The packet is operating. So I'm getting the packet. That means I'm getting the International Space Station. It's just not transmitting any slow scan TV. So that's it. No slow scan TV, unfortunately. It would have been fun to see it live, but they're still not broadcasting. They're not live yet with slow scan. I would have heard that easily. Easily. So, sorry guys, no SSTV. Okay, radioactive, no problem. We'll check that out. Okay, what else we have? John Jensen, K9WXX. Can't wait for my new elect NES DR Smart T SDR 25 megahertz, 750 megahertz, so I can do this on there. Yeah, that's going to be one of the fun things you can do. And listen to the amateur radio satellites also. So, pretty cool. What else do we have? Yeah, if you hear, you can check that out. You look at 145.825. From time to time they send packets, and if you get a packet, you know you're getting the station. You know it's there. But if you you know, I still am getting the packet here, and you see it's Doppler shifted. The first packet I had was on 145.828.29. Now it's on 145.823. So I'm getting a Doppler shifted packet now that's about 6 kilohertz lower. So that's definitely packet from the International Space Station on 145.823 now. But there's no slow scan TV. So we'll go back to shortwave, guys. This is, after all, the shortwave show. Let's tune 15000. Let's put it back in AM mode. Let me just, oh, there's something here. What's that? Oh, okay. Let me just switch the antennas so that we are back to the shortwave antenna. Look at the difference, man. I was not receiving WWV on the mobile vertical. And look at the long wire, brings in WWV really well now. So, kind of cool. So here we go, guys. Sorry. It would have been so nice to receive the International Space Station, unfortunately. Neil Toombs, we had no luck here in the UK decoding any images today, and even hearing the ISS. Many people reported the same. Oh, cool, Neil. Thanks for the info. So maybe they're late. Maybe, well, you know, tomorrow maybe it's going to work. Sometimes they have these glitches on the International Space Station, and unfortunately, you know, there was a water leak this week. I was reading an article. They were saying there was a water leak at some point in the ISS. Maybe they're just too busy. I don't know. Brandon Sexton, nice to have you on board from Ireland. I'm just wondering, will I be able to receive the space station using a small handheld with a telescoping antenna? Yes, absolutely, Brandon. I've received it successfully, you know, just with a little scanner like this. You might need to go outside to have better reception, but you will definitely be able to receive, even with a scanner like this. The signal from the International Space Station is surprisingly strong in slow scan TV. Fanny Zanakis, this is Prime DX. Like when I was young trying to tune into far away, sometimes I'm hearing nothing but a trace. Knowing it's there is magic. Absolutely. Matt says, next pass here in Denver, 2257, but it's even lower. It means you should have a pass about 23, so maybe we can all try. Yeah, we'll try to stay on. Mine is much better. It's 60 degrees at 2304. So that's going to be interesting for me to check out. But let's hope they switch it on before then. TLT, nice to have you on board. It's nice to have you here. No problem. A really bad storm in Toronto. Texan PL680 says, HAL 9000 from the ISS, just trying to tease us right now. Yeah, possibly. Really nice. Man. Yes, true, Bobby, you're right on that one. Last time they did slow scan TV, they had punched in the wrong frequency for the slow scan TV. Take care, Ralph. Always nice to have you here. Hope everybody's enjoying. We're 145 watching. 145 watching. So let's hope that maybe something's going to show up. For sure. John Jensen says, one of the reflectors I am on, someone stated that they are having troubles and their signal had been weak. Huh. Interesting. At least we heard the packet on 145825. So I know that I was hearing the International Space Station for sure. That's the cool thing of a software-defined radio, having the visibility. So even though I was tuned to 145800, the fact that I could see 145825 visually, well, I could see the packets. So I knew the station was there, and I knew that if you hear the packets, you hear the slow scan TV. That's it. So Ray Erning says, never tried International Space Station. Taught too hard. No, it's actually so easier. You know, one of the aspects of the radio hobby that often stops people is the impression that some aspects of our hobby are difficult. But in reality, a lot of what people think and seem to find difficult is actually much simpler than thought. And once they do it, often they're like, "Oh, look at that!" It's as simple as that. So let me just check it out here. Okay, KF7EOR, Carol. So here is a picture. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful WeatherFax picture. Wow, that is nice. That is definitely nice. So let me just look at that WeatherFax picture that Radioactive has decoded. It's perfect. I mean, look at how beautiful it is. This is a very clear decode. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thanks for sharing. It's really a lot of fun to see that. Yeah, I know, Bobby, but there was a water leak on the ISS. They kind of lost, I don't know how many liters of water and some with a problem they had. So I don't know how a leak, I mean, without gravity, the water looks like big bubbles. I don't know how it looked in the ISS, but I'm sure it's not something you want to see every day there. Zen Novosel, nice to have you here from Croatia. 73. 73. John Jensen says, I just heard a couple of bursts on 145-800. There was a pattern that did show up on around the frequency, but maybe it's that. Yeah, Texan PL 680, absolutely. I know for a while they thought that there was some sabotage or something with the International Space Station. DNS Euro nice says controlling a Kiwi SDR in Ontario, Canada, from Arizona, using SDR.HU. So yes, I know I should have a receiver here. Absolutely. I need to stop talking about it, and I want to put my icon on the air, and at least people could use it to listen from Montreal, Ray Erling says, gotta say, loving this. First time got a chance to see it from start to finish while the missus is away. And just in case she can hear, I am missing her. Oh, maybe she's watching the stream. She just wants to know, Ray, what are you doing with all the guys, the radio guys? It looks weird. Sakura DX, sorry through the years, Tom. Now our area, the day before yesterday, recorded 14 degrees. Normally it's spring temperatures. Now we're waiting for snow. Well, here we've got a January and an early February that's so weird. It's like we had plus 7 Celsius this morning when I woke up. And it's going to be minus 14 tonight. No. But that's Montreal for you. Yeah, I know it does key up, fast load. I know it does key up. I did a quick test with the lowest setting. So it does key up. Absolutely. Danny, Shortwave Radio DX, nice to have you on board. Yeah, Ray, absolutely. There are things sometimes that look complicated, and I've suffered from that for a while too. Trying to really grasp an aspect of the hobby. I remember my first time that I started decoding digital modes. It sounded so complicated for me. And for some reason, it was like, it sounds complicated to decode some radio teletype or something. And and that was until, but with the sound card part of things, it looked complicated. But you know what? One day I hooked up the radio to the computer. I downloaded the software. I remember it was a long time ago on like a 386 or something. And I had downloaded the software from a bulletin board system, a BBS, that was supposed to decode through the sound card radio teletype, Morse code. I don't know if it did anything else. And I thought it looks complicated, and you know, and let's be frank, it was a DOS-based software, which meant it was complicated also for the setup, because it was much more complicated than today with Windows-based PCs. But you know what? I set it up, and when I decoded my first radio teletype, I looked at the screen and I saw the text go through, and I was like, "Well, it's much easier than I thought." Finally, so you know, you gotta, and frankly, if what I did showed you how easy it is actually, and now you want to do it, well, cool, because maybe sometimes it's fun to see somebody else do something. And there are things we don't understand sometimes. There are things that we, and that's probably one of the most, I would say, what stops us sometimes from doing something. Sometimes our mind is set to a specific item, and our line of thought goes towards that thing. But in reality, you got to stop focusing on that and look at the bigger picture. But we get stuck in that little way of thinking or seeing something until we see somebody else that does it, and you're like, oh, that's how he does it. I don't know, so many times there are things that I've seen on radio that I couldn't figure out. And basically, one day I go somewhere and there's this guy doing stuff, and it's like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's how he does it. Okay, I've been doing it wrong all the time. That's not how we do it. So, you know, I'm here for that. So, you know, I'm here for that. And that's the fun thing about it. Yes, there's a show tomorrow, PLF Radio. Tomorrow at 2000 hours Universal Time. So if today we don't decode, maybe tomorrow we'll be able to decode. So, you know, join us tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll have some slow scan TV pictures. Pretty interesting. What else do we have? Let's just go down. Kevin J says, use the online radio stations web.sdr.org and do it all for free. No radio needed. What else do we have? Dave Todd says his favorite web SDR is the K3FEF SDR in Northeast Penn State. Dana F, nice to have you here. Red Hat Shortwave, I like that. Red Hat Shortwave. The latest distro of a shortwave. Vaults. For weather pictures, I really like the ones from M2 Meteor, but that software to decode it is really rough by the looks of it. Okay. I've seen a few of that for sure. And I need to get a little more into it. Yes, we do have shortwave friends from around the world. Absolutely. So tomorrow there is a show on... sorry guys. Tomorrow there's a show at 2000 hours UTC. So absolutely, we'll be here tomorrow. Kevin Wood, ACARS on 13315. Anything on 13315 here? Oops. 13315. Let's put it in upper sideband. Let's check out what's here. There's something here. I'm just gonna check the. Yeah, I don't want to have that. Stalag. 13845 is that WWCR station?
The Lord's been gracious. I've had food on my table, had a roof over my head. Had
Food on that table.
That
It's interesting to see. It's there to tune around. Let's check out the 20 meter band. There's some activity on the 20 meter band. There's quite a lot of activity on the 20 meter band right now. I can tell you that. Ronald Hester says, nice to have you on board, North Carolina. I sent a reception report on July 17, 2018. Just got a QSL card, February 11, 2019. Long time to get a QSL card. What station? But you know, QSL cards take, some stations take an enormous amount of time to do. An enormous amount of time to respond back to us. So, you know, Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Havana, Cuba, I believe, every time I've sent a report there, it takes at least 6 months before I get something back. Voice of Vietnam has been rather long for me every time I've written there. Some stations are faster, like Radio Romania usually is very fast, QSLer. There's a few stations like that that are really, really fast. I was thinking about that yesterday. Also, I need to QSL a few stations this year and write to them and let them know. I'm always telling everybody, hey, let them know that they're listening, and I'm not doing it. I need to do something with that. By the way, just to little self-promotion here. If you like today's show, if you like what I do, what about a little donation to help me out? PayPal.me/shortwave for a PayPal donation, or at the Yahoo email that you see here. You know, it costs money for me to do this because I got to pay for that internet bill that is more expensive than the average bill because I need a lot of output in order to you know, have a live show. So and do all the YouTube videos. And, you know, it pays for the equipment. If I need to change something, buy something new because whatever I'm using breaks down, the lighting, whatever. It's a great way to help out. And if you really enjoy what I do, if you like the fact that, you know, we tune around the International Space Station, how many times in a year do you see that happening? Really, you know, it's something unusual. And we're a bunch of guys. We're having a lot of fun. This, you know, if you like what I do, if you want me to maintain this and continue through the months and the years with live shows and stuff, why not think of a little something? Think about it like, you know, some people think about it as a yearly donation, as like a subscription. Well, I give you something once a year. It's like subscribing to a magazine or something, but I'm subscribing to, you know, Gilles live shows. Somebody the other day said, well, you know, you could easily do live shows that are paid. You know, if you don't pay, I don't want to do that. It's not what I want to do. And, you know, of course, honestly, I get some money back. Of course, there's monetization off of YouTube for sure. But, you know, it's kind of fun to have people help you out also at the same time. And, you know, we always need something new, some new equipment or something. And, you know, I want to thank everybody that donated. You can also join us on Patreon. Join, I believe, 11 patrons right now on patreon.com. That give me a little something every month. So, you know, think about it. If you like what I do, if you think what I do is important and it's well worth it, why not, you know, do a little something? Any amount helps. You know, I hear from people all the time. Somebody sent me $1 the other day and said, I'm so sorry, you know, it's like, it's all I can afford. And it's like, it's cool. You sent me something. You already are better than 99% of everybody else that never sent anything. So, you know, never have an excuse or feel sorry because you give just $1. It's okay. It's fine, you know. If there would be more people giving just $1, it would cost like nothing, but there would be an amount at the end. It's not the amount that counts. is the fact that your contribution is there, and that's it. So don't feel sorry, and don't be sad because you can't give much. Don't be sad because you can give only once a year, it's quite all right. And of course, don't feel sad if you can donate. It's all right. I totally understand that not everybody has the possibility to do so. So thanks everybody that donated. Trying to reach out here to those that never did and that might want to, participate, give a little something. Thanks. It's much appreciated. If you like what I do, if you like me to be here every Fridays, I could do a lot of other things on a Friday evening, Friday afternoon / evening. But I dedicate myself to, being here at 2000 UT and do a live show and be here every Fridays. That requires dedication. That requires, I want to be here. I want to have all of you around. And, like I said, there's so many other things I could do. The few weeks that I've not been on, I get these mails and these people telling me, wow, I missed your shows. You weren't there on Friday. It was sad. Well, it is something to be here every Fridays. Sometimes you don't feel like it, but it's dedication. You got to be here. You got to do it. It's like going to work sometimes, this is, of course, a very cool work. I got to admit, I've got one of the coolest work in the world. Okay, I'll give you that. But, even when you do the coolest job in the world, it happens sometimes that you're like, I don't feel like it today. But you're still there. You got to smile and you got to be here. You got to have fun. You got to do the bands. You got to say hi to everybody. So thanks, everybody. I don't want to rub it in, but thanks, everybody. Okay. Let's stop whining. What else do we have? So, anything else? So, yep, Saturday show this weekend. Absolutely. Tomorrow, 2000. Matt says, good chance of Wolverine Pirate. He's been on very low frequency lately, 34, 40 or something like that. We're going to try that for sure. So, hey, take care, Simon Templar. Always nice to have you on board. Sebi says, found a way to have great AM reception on all these Chinese cheap portables. And what is it? Just open the radio case, remove ferrite loop stick, and so two wired, and connecting these to a coax cable, and put a coaxial loop antenna. Of course, there's all sorts of things. People that are handy, it's not everybody that is, and let's face it, we have a radio hobby. We have a hobby that's very electronics related, but at the same time, we got to remind each other that a lot of people that are here are not very electronics oriented. They're not necessarily the kind of people that are going to open up a case of a radio and tweak whatever in it. That is... But when you're capable of that, it's kind of cool. You can do so many things. You can improve. I've seen a guy once use a very cheap radio. The kind of radio you would just throw in the junk because it's bad, and open it up, sort a couple of wires, and do a few things, and had a little resistor there and a capacitor here, and then turn it on and say, look at that, I'm DXing like a big expensive radio, and just added a few parts because he had the knowledge to do it, but also showing that, look, sometimes you don't need that much to just enjoy the hobby and have something amazing. Terry Colgan, nice to have you on board from Austin, Texas, and where it's kind of snowing. So, cheers. Here it's kind of very windy. Actually, we just had a wind gust, and I actually heard one of the windows in that kind of moved. I was like, wow, is a window going to rip off or something? I don't know, but it's very windy outside, and it's minus 0. How cold can that be? Minus 0. That's so much colder than just 0. So, Red Hat Shortwave says, better late than never, QSL. Absolutely. 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 you know, QSLing requires some times and stuff like that. Well, Jerry, you know that the Carnaval de Québec starts today. I didn't even know. I know it's in February, but I never know. I've never been. I should be once, at least once. Be a good Québécois and go to Quebec for the Carnaval de Québec at least once. Eddie Essex, what's a good antenna to replace the rubber ducky antenna for your handheld? Well, you got two things. One is, it depends what you want to listen to. So, for example, here on this one, I've got a, it's Nagoya. This is an antenna made for 2 meter, 70 centimeter reception, just the ham bands. And it works amazingly well. This will receive the ISS so well, even though it doesn't look much. So this I purchased on eBay for, I don't know. I don't think I've paid more than $15 for this. Now, okay, it probably is a Chinese spin-off or some kind of antenna that is more expensive, but this works great. So for 2 meters, 70 centimeters for ham bands, it's a pretty damn cool antenna, I gotta say. Okay, but if you have one antenna to buy, there's different models. You know, there's one that looks like a mini discone. There's so many different antennas you can buy. I always revert back to this. This is one of the antennas I love to use. It's a telescopic. It's made for 30 megahertz to 1.3 gigahertz, so it's a wideband telescopic. What's cool is that you can actually kind of tune it. So as you go up in frequency, you will collapse sections of the antenna so that you resonate closely to whatever frequency you're going to use. This isn't very expensive, but I've seen some on eBay, 30 megahertz to 1.3 gigahertz for around $40. I've used this and I've been very happy with this thing. This one comes from Radio Shack, actually. They sold one of those at Radio Shack in, I think I purchased this like in 1990 or something. And I paid like I think I paid $15 for it at the time. But they are very nice, and this has been with me. You know, it's a little it's a little delicate right now because I've used it so much that it's falling apart. But I wish I'd had a couple more of these. These are very nice, and I mean, I've been having a lot of fun and very good success in reception of stations with this. So it's cool for that. Do you need 2 dongles to get P25? Not that I know of. Maybe somebody can answer that a little more, but not that I know of. Pagemaster, nice to have you here. Says the DX160 came in yesterday, but I tuned it to 10 megahertz to check WWV. I noticed it's 7 megahertz off. I need a moderate alignment done on it. I have the knowledge on how to do it, but no equipment. Wow, 7 megahertz off. Youch. Are you sure it's not 7 kilohertz off? Because 7 megahertz is a hell of an alignment here. So maybe you mean 7 kilohertz. Hey, Richard Cook, nice to have you on board from the UK. Nice to have you on board. A video on how to tune a shortwave radio with minimal equipment. Yeah, that could be interesting. You know, there are some QSLs sometimes is something. I've received QSLs. You know, an example of QSL that took a lot of time. The longest wait ever, because I used to have a log, so I would send QSL cards out, and I would create a kind of a spreadsheet on a piece of paper, and I would put the date that I actually mailed the letter. So once I put it in the mailbox, I would put that date down, and when I'd get a QSL, I'd look at that list, and I was like, okay, I send it on, October 13th. I got it. I got a QSL on January 8th. So it gives me an idea of how long. The longest I've waited for a QSL card was from one of the African stations. I don't remember which one exactly. Something like Morocco or I don't remember which one. One of the QSLs I got from Africa, and it took a year and a half. I had sent a reception report like in February of the year, and I got the QSL in something like October of the next year. It was like, wow, a year and a half. It was crazy. Crazy. The Rock 80. Do you think that shortwave stations will continue to the future? There will always be some shortwave stations because there are regions of the world that still need shortwave radio broadcasting. Africa, Asia. You got to think about one thing. I mean, in countries like Canada or the United States or even many countries in Europe, we tend to forget that, I'm sitting here with my 4 computers around me and all the radios. I'm obviously a little better off in life than a lot of people. Doesn't mean I'm rich, it's like being rich is another thing. But it's easy to, even if you have one radio, okay, say you got a radio you purchased for $100 or $200. The sheer fact that you can afford a radio like that sometimes makes us forget that in many, many other countries around the world, it's way more difficult and people are just living off of nothing. And they got these portable radios lying around. And you know what? They listen to the shortwave bands the way that they get news. The other reason why shortwave continues, and that has been shown a lot, is that in many countries there is no freedom of speech. You cannot talk about anything without being, so everything that's on the radio is government controlled. You don't really have a real truth, you don't know what's happening for real. So shortwave stations are there for that. The Voice of America is there for that. The BBC, the BBC has been getting really slammed on by many African countries. Radio France International, with many African countries' governments saying, oh, well, you're just saying lies and it's not true and that's not what's happening. So that will continue for that reason. There is a need for shortwave. In 10 years or 20 years from now, there's going to be some shortwave stations to listen to. Where it's changed, and that's probably why a North American shortwave listener might find it sad to see that the bands aren't full of signals, is that the stations have focused on areas where there's a need for shortwave radio. Africa, Asia. A lot of stations stopped because they said there's no need for shortwave for North America for some reason. There's a need. Our press and our radio and our TV in North America is, let's say, a little more free speech than in many countries. I'm not saying it's totally okay. I don't think the CBC, for example, in Canada, necessarily tells things exactly as sometimes they could be or should be. But overall, it's not too bad. And the United States is probably the same thing. There's a way of having the news out that, yeah, sometimes it's biased a little bit, but we still have it better off than a lot of others. Having a source from somewhere else is not a bad idea. I like to say that most people like me that grew up listening to shortwave pretty intensely, hearing the viewpoint of everybody else, not just my own Canadian government telling me this is the way things are. Because I'm sorry, but whatever country you live in, Canada is no exception. The government will sometimes lie on us, will lie on things. We don't necessarily see things exactly the way they should. And we get our own way of thinking based on what we hear around us. But then you start hearing the world and hearing how people around the world think about things that you had an idea. The idea came from your local news outlets, from your own governments. But you hear once a guy or a station or someone somewhere saying something that you just, it raises a flag. You're like, huh, I never thought of that. What if this is like that? What if I'm wrong for some reason? So it is sad because I think having international broadcasters broadcast to North America is not a bad idea. Without any political, crap of anything, I think maybe it's even needed a little more now than in the past in North America to have a little bit of outlets of what other people are thinking and saying. There's nothing like having what other people are saying and thinking about us to kind of realize that sometimes maybe what we are and what we do isn't necessarily the best idea in the world, even though we can be convinced of it. So, but at least we got a certain freedom of speech, and it's there. But shortwave is going to be there because of that. We need shortwave for that reason. Nobody will block it. You can't, you can shut down the internet, but you will not be able to shut down shortwave. So Okay. Anyone with the CGM 909X fancy checking me out? I'm a newbie here in Southern Ireland. Take care, Matt. Richard Cook has 9265, which is probably the WINB in Red Lion, Pennsylvania. No, I don't put Kevin. I don't use Super Chat. I don't want to use that also. I want to be more of a, not too, Yeah. Well, I was talking the other day with Sheldon. And we were mentioning he's got to come over at some point and be there for a live show one of those Friday evenings. That would be nice. I need to add a few. It'll be nice to add a few to that for sure. Okay, Jerry says, checking Twitter, and there's a few people in Europe that got a weak signal from the International Space Station. We're going to try that 60-degree pass in an hour's time from now. So we're gonna go on and we're gonna try for sure. Wow, the lights just dimmed. I hope we're not going to have a power outage. Thanks everybody for the PayPal donations, my friend. And Mickey Homage, nice to have you here. Minus 25 Celsius in sunny Sherwood Park. Wow. Okay, radioactive, no problem. Goldfish Studio 2007, nice to have you on board. Where in Canada? Canada is big. Mark Schmidt, nice to have you on board from Maine. Pretty cool. Shady Pyro 90, nice to have you on board. Jerry, if I win the lottery, we'll go. William Helms, you're in the hospital. Oh, wow. Gotta take it easy, man. So I gotta take it easy. You gotta, somebody I know has diabetes. You gotta be careful with that, my friend. Richard Cook as Channel Radio, signing off 7445. So no, we tried during the live show, Shady Pyro. It was passing over earlier today here during the live show. We tried, but we couldn't. What else do we have? David Martin, nice to have you on board from Dallas. Curious signal at 9726. Let me just check out 9726 here. Anything here? Oops. 9726. There's nothing here. Something on 9720. Which is Radio Vanicula, I believe. Something really strong, of course, Spain. Spain is strong on 96.90.
Sí, además es todo el mundo. Sí, 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 la cara les cambia.
There's Greece. What's up, Greece on 9420? Some Greek music. Checking out what singles are and the. Got a signal on 10 megahertz. Let me see if it's WWV. Yeah, WWV and 10 megahertz. Propagation seems to be interesting today. Anything down here? There's some stuff there. Nothing much there. We'll check for pirates and see if there's some pirates. Take care, F4IDL. It was nice to have you on board. Hey, Keegan, nice to have you back. I give out to tune a shortwave receiver with the golden screwdriver. Michael Cart, nice to have you here. Page Master, yeah, 7 megahertz was kind of worrying me a little bit. I was thinking of, whoa, man, you got a really bad radio, but 7 kilohertz, that kind of eases my mind a little bit, for sure. David Onen, longest he's ever waited for a QSL card was 11 months. Oh, didn't even remember. That's the funniest part. When you get a when you get a QSL card and you don't even remember when you actually sent for the QSL card. That is the funny part. Wow. So yeah, vaults. Maybe at some point. Maybe. Yeah, some ubiquitous lower satellite. Who knows? Miguel Almash, as long as wait for a QSL card was Radio Grenada, 688 days. Next, 531 days for RFO French Guiana. Oh, absolutely. Actually, you know what? What is fun with that is that it actually brings you to a point where you're actually really happy to get that QSL card, because it just, it's just, I don't know, it has more value sometimes. You think you'll never receive anything, and you've got that, and it's like, wow, it's so cool. So, it's kind of nice. Yeah, the African authorities, absolutely. Markup KSDA Guam on 11955. Really? 11955. Anything here? Nope, nothing here. There's a few signals though. Brazil, Radio Nacional Amazonas coming in really well on 11780. Brazil 11780. Pretty good. Nick Mayakovsky, nice to have you on board. Says the CBC has come down very far in the past 40 years, I think. I tend to agree that it's not the same as that it once used to be. Absolutely. PageMaster says, notice that most stations that broadcast to North America seems like there's hardly any power behind the transmission. Yet when the broadcast is a different language, it pegs the S meter. You know what? One of the things that I've often wondered about some of the transmissions. So, when you look at a transmission from a station, say, Radio Romania, they are rated at, 500 kilowatts or 250 kilowatts. But I sometimes think that to save power, to save money, they'll they'll very often lower that power intentionally. I'm pretty sure. And you got to be careful. You got to be careful because there's a lot of propagation problems also that we gotta think of. Weather forecast came through, says Sakura DX. Snowing outside. Elton Byington says, I mourned the day when CBC killed off the Northern Quebec service. Listen to Morningside as it happens, CBC Sunday morning. I used to listen to that Northern Quebec service. It was 9625. You say 9565, but I think it was 9625, if my memory serves well. But I used to listen to some CBC shows through the Northern Quebec service that was sorry, that was usually quite okay here in general. Michael Cart says, I received 9:90 a.m. from Winnipeg recently and early morning from Ottawa. Wow, that's good. That is pretty good. Kevin Wood says, Romeo Dallaire is a big booster of shortwave broadcasting. Well, that guy was really traumatized by what he's seen in Africa when he went there. And I think he knows more than a lot of other people that there's a need for this to happen. Radiocom says, what's missing on shortwave is something like party on the airwaves. How I looked forward to Radio St. Helena every November, and how I missed the one night of pure radio fun. There was a lot of fun with that for sure. So here's the Boston Weather Facts Decode from our friend. Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Look at that. This is so clear. So this is our friend Radioactive sending the Weather Facts Decode from Boston that you just had. Look how beautiful it is. We really see very well all of this and where it's all at. Really nice. Wow, what an amazing decode, guy, my friend. Really, I'm impressed. I've had some nice decodes, but this is so clear. This is crazy. Crazy. Yeah, you know, radio comms. There was a period. There was a time when we had all of these events and stuff, and you know, it was fun because it promoted radio, it promoted the shortwave radio stuff. But you know, it's something that unfortunately I think it's something that's passed. I mean, I was looking forward to Radio St. Helena every year. Also, it was just so cool, you know. Honestly, it was really cool. Radioactive has the NOAA weather voice broadcast on 12788. Let's check it out. 12788. Anything here? Oh yeah, it's not very strong, but I hear it. 12788. Where's that one from? It's 12788. It's very weak, but I hear the voice in the background. I hear the voice in the background. 12788. Let me check that out. 12788. Is that the one from Louisiana? Yeah, it's there. It's a little stronger now. Twelve seven eight eight. And this is, whoops, find on page 12788. Yeah, New Orleans, Louisiana. NMG, U.S. Coast Guard weather from New Orleans until it's weird. It's actually off of the schedule here, but they're broadcasting, so I guess, I don't know. But they're still, I don't know, maybe they're late or something. But anyways, it's supposed to be New Orleans, U.S. Coast Guard. So hearing it a little bit. Any other frequencies? Let's try 8501. So I'm hearing 6604. Gander Radio 6604. 6604 Gander Radio. So they're interesting to see. So what else do we have? Yeah, if it ever freezes or there's some glitches, just restart or refresh. Usually works okay. Does the DC power supply make a big difference from the supplied wall wart? That's for Donald. I need to get an antenna out, stay room. I have a small 12 volt DC power supply to power it. Eddie SX, why do we always want to work on our antennas in the winter here in Canada? You know, that's because in the summertime we're enjoying beautiful weather, and of course it's always in the wintertime when everything needs to break down. I was looking at mine the other day. I mean, the broomstick that's holding it on the other side of the fence is like crooked like this. And I was looking at the ice that was forming on it with the ice storm, well, the freezing rain we had. And I was like, man, that thing, you know, freezing rain plus high winds equals that thing is going to just, and I'm going to end up in like 2 feet of snow to fix it at minus 20 degrees Celsius. You know. DNS Uro says I'm getting a S10 on 9980, which is, I believe, WCR. Derek Colgan, I have QSL reports out from the early 60s. Should I give up hope? Maybe those will not come back. I'm not sure, but I don't think those will. You know, I've got so many from the 80s, you know, that never arrived. So many. Well, Frog89 says, we've been pretty steady over 120 to 130 viewers since I came in. It's awesome to see so many people here. It is fun. It is a lot of fun. Absolutely. It's fun to see that, you know, people are enjoying. We reached almost 150 earlier when we tried the International Station SSTV. We're going to try it again in half an hour, a little more than half an hour. We're going to try the slow scan TV from the International Space Station again. We'll see. So, what else do we have? So Keegan has 11780, S4 out of S5 fading at times from Brazil. Andy told me, is that cough the viral one? I've had a cough now, yeah. That's I've had it for a good 3 weeks now. It's slowly fading away, but I still have these. I got these. You know what? This week, at some times when I was doing YouTube videos, I had to restart the YouTube videos like 2 or 3 times. I just couldn't go through the old YouTube video talking without coughing like nuts. So it's actually better because, I mean, if I would have been like maybe Tuesday, I'm not sure I would have been able to talk for 2 hours and a half and still have my voice and be able to continue. So where does one find a linear wallwart? Well, they're hard to get today, but you might on eBay. You'll have some, and on and you know, go to Hamfests and stuff like that. There's often a lot of those lying around where, and they're pretty good. You know, you got to stay away from those switching ones for sure. Johnny DXer, nice to have you here. Donald Hosmer says, I got mine when I bought my Com Radio CR1 from Universal. So they discontinued their wallwart. Vault says, dialing back the power sounds very reasonable. Plus 100% power equal plus 100% cost at only 3 dB gain. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I mean, power is overrated. That's for sure. You know, somebody thinks that, oh, I'm going to go from 100 watts to 200 watts. Yeah, you're not going to have that much of a difference, honestly. And you'll be spending a lot more on electricity just because of it. And you know, so I think there's a reasonable way to lower the power at some point, absolutely. And I personally, and that's my opinion. My opinion is more of a bad propagation and the high noise level we have than other things. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's the Henning. We got to be careful because that example will actually say exactly what we were talking a little earlier about the power level. Radio Romania in Romanian in the evening is always stronger than Radio Romania in English or French. But I wonder if it's also not the heading, the direction they're sending the signal to. It's not the same. So maybe that also is playing on us with the different different power levels that we get from stations. I had a little blank there. I was looking at the wall, at the map on the wall, and was like, yeah, you got to say something, man. You're live. So, you know. JDX, International Space Station over Australia. Yeah, it's coming for a pass here. Keegan has nothing on 12788. JDX has 12788. That's S5 to S7. Kevin Wood, 12788 weak, but there. DX Engineering has lying near Walmart, apparently. Donald Hosmer says, only utility here are buried power lines. Internet is via local radio relays from a tower, TV from dish, and phone from cell towers. Nothing else connected. And I have a 10 kilowatt auto generator. Wow. Oh yeah, I remember that. My first QSL, Elton Byington, my first QSL from Radio New Zealand, it's kind of a nice thing when you think about it, was when Radio New Zealand was on 7.5 kilowatts. Today they have 100 kilowatt transmitters. But yeah, my first reception of Radio New Zealand on my Radio Shack DX302, somewhere in 1983-4, was when Radio New Zealand was using only 7.5 kilowatts. And the funniest thing is that even that 7.5 kilowatts was sometimes giving an interesting signal in North America. Andy Tobin, 12788, very low in Newfoundland, Canada. William Collins says, looking for SDR buddy, exchange. Maybe we can start a group. Who knows? Richard Cook, 6604 week. Andy Tobin, 6606, got CW. Yeah, it's the Israeli CW on 6607 you're probably getting. What is that here on 67? There's something here on 6. Oh, that's nice. It's not nice. 6739. I like the echo. 6739. 4724. 8992. 11175. So this is the emergency action messages from the U.S. Air Force. So noisy with the echo and everything. So DNS 0 6607, the CW you've got is the Israeli Maritime Station 6607. It's from Israel. It's the station 4XZ. 4 X-ray Zulu. Pierre-Olivier Boisvert. The software is SDR Uno, and it's running a SDR Play RSP1A software-defined receiver plugged into my sloper antenna in my backyard. Welcome aboard, Pierre-Olivier. It's not Mars on 6739, Jerry. It's one of the global HF Air Force frequencies. Keegan says 8501 S5 out of S5. Garble listening on AM. Yeah, I think it's 502 if I'm not mistaken. Mark Brando, 7200, rock music and the handbands. Well, 7200 is the Cuckoo's Nest amateur frequency. So lots of U.S. Air Force messages. Brian Penny says 6936 USB Irish Rose radio. Really? Let's just try 6936 here. Not getting anything. Not getting anything here. 724. Wonder if they're sending more emergency action messages since everybody decided that let's just continue and build more atomic bombs and missiles. Pagemaster says someone was mentioning that Hawaii was a good place for DX last week. I will say that this, yes it is. I was stationed at Barbers Point Naval Air Station in '92. It must be a great place. Texan says, when you had the blank looking up, my YouTube flashed and stuttered. Maybe we experienced some kind of interdimensional glitch. It's possible. Maybe our minds just crossed somewhere on the universe. Ryan Ross, nice to have you on board. And going very well, my friend. It's always fun to be here. Mark Brando's got 6936 in southeast Wisconsin. Strong signal, no fading. Douglas Perry, nice to have you on board from Ontario, Canada. Matambali's got global HF 6739 solid. No, this is not a number station, Joe Sombra. It's the U.S. Air Force. It's what is the global HF Air Force emergency action messages. So it's really the United States Army. They have several frequencies: 4724, 6739, 8992, 11175, 15016. I don't know why and how I remember all these frequencies, but that's it. So these are coded messages for the U.S. Army, Joe Sombra. Matambali has 11175 better. So radioactive is probably 6739. No problem, Pierre-Olivier. Toujours un plaisir. Red Alpha 65, nice to have you here, my friend. Sergio, I have no idea what you're saying, as I don't speak Russian or something. Radioactive has EAM also on 13200. That's true. 13200 is another frequency. Darren Pierce, nice to have you on board from VK3 land in Australia. Nice to have you here. There is a lot of echo, Vaults. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if it's because I believe these are transmitted from several stations positioned at different places. Because there's like two or three echoes in here. She's saying the number or that letter, then there's like at least two other. I hear it like twice echoed in the background. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what Kevin was saying. It's sent from multiple transmitter. That's why the echo. So we're receiving different transmitters probably at the same time. Audio Slave, greetings to you from Destin, Florida. Nice to have you here, Audio Slave. I like the Donald Hosmer says, I never left. Metal Belly answering you. We sense your presence, Donald. Radioactive says, I have an echo in my shack. EM and stereo. Yeah, something like that. 130 watching. Bullfrog89 says, I know a guy that works for the Air Force. I told him to turn the power down a little because the echo. Imagine, Bullfrog, that, you know, it's like the echo stops immediately because you just called him. Would be nice. So they're sending a lot of messages tonight, so maybe it's our last night on Earth because of all of this. So at least we'll have our last moments having fun. So, you know what? I'll open another beer. At least I'll go drunk. Nice to have you here, guys. This is a Blonde from Hell, and it's a 10.5% ale. It actually won, by the way, this is made here in Quebec. It actually won one of the prizes, international prizes, for the best blonde ale in the world. I saw that today. Oh yeah, I'm adding, absolutely, Matambali. The reverb from the delay that you guys have with me also. Bullfrog says, end of it all, eh? Guess I'll drink too. You know what? At least, if at least we, it would end right now and nobody noticed anything, we can almost think that, you know, it ended in a good way. Having fun doing what we like, shortwave and radio in general. And, you know. Oh, man. So, we'll check it out because we're going to have, we'll try the International Space Station another time. Brian Ross says, I know that beer is good. You know, this beer, we had it at Christmas also. Fastload in the chat room came over at Christmas Eve. And my brother that doesn't like beer that much, that tastes, was wondering what it actually tastes like. At 10.5%, beers tend to be very, very harsh. And this one is like, you would never know you're actually drinking a 10.5% beer with this thing. It's just crazy. Hey, cheers, everybody, to Shortwave Radio. How about it? To Shortwave Radio and to radio in general, and to all of you out there watching this live feed from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Keegan, no problem. Root beer. That's interesting. She's talking to somebody. Huh. So they make the strongest beer I've seen in my life is a 21% beer that I didn't taste. I've seen the beer, I've never tasted. 21%, you don't take more than one. I can tell you that. Even at 10.5%, imagine I got 3 beers tonight. This is my 3rd beer. First one was a 5% ale. Then I got a Fin du Monde, which is a 9% ale. 9. And this one's a 10.5. So I'm going to tell you, after this one, I'll be pretty, not drunk, but pretty tipsy. I'm already a little tipsy anyways. I die happy with a foo-foo coffee in my hand and listening to the radio. Rodolfo says, after a long day at work, I could use a few beers. Donna Hosmer says, Irish Rose Radio 6936 signed off at 2240, promising to return on St. Patrick's Day. Oh yeah, that's in March. In March. St. Patrick's. We're at that time already. W5KJL, nice to have you on board. Greetings from the great place in Texas, Fort Hood. We are quite used to tests that shake the foundations of our houses and we are probably the safest area a civilian can find. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, 21% radioactive. I would have tasted that just for the fun of it. So you are watching the Shortwave show. We are located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we are going to, of course, take a look at anything that is International Space Station in about 15 minutes from now. So let's check it out, and we'll see if we can code anything, if there's anything we receive. So let's go back to Evans above. So it's a 60-degree pass, 60. It's a pretty good pass. So you guys could see from the sky here in the app. So this is my sky, and this is where it's going to pass in the sky. And the line that you see here. So this is showing you a really good pass for me. Let's cross our fingers that I will be able to actually receive some slow scan from that. But I'm not, whoops, wrong. Let's put it like this. This is the good one. So here we go, 60-degree pass. I actually accidentally clicked on the wrong one. So, let's hope that they fix something. I don't know, because signal was absent. But I could hear the packet, but I couldn't hear the slow scan. So we're going to be, trying that, even though it's out of the range of the shortwave spectrum. Just for the fun of it, we'll be trying that for sure. Casey Red Dragon, nice to have you here, and says 9690 is strong today. Absolutely. DNS Uro, what's the whisper on 7040.1? Oh. What else do we have? Oh God. Oh yes. Hey Mike DeGrandi. Yes, absolutely. Early is flat. Oh God. What else do we have? David Martin says CW words per minute inversely proportional to the percentage of alcohol. And probably there's even another one that you can add to that. CW error rate is proportional to the percentage of alcohol. 13820. 13820. I've got nothing. I've got interference here. What's that? 13640.50. Anybody receiving a station on 13650? It's very weak over here. Anybody getting a station on 13650? W5KJL, how many shekels does it take to get a pirate flag up? I know. I'm sorry. Oh man. Take care, Radioactive. We'll be back tomorrow at 2000 UT. What's on 13650? I'm just wondering right now. IBI space 13650. 13650 at this time 2249. What's on 13650? I've got nothing, but there's definitely a weak station here on 13650, and I don't see anything for it here except Radio Japan from Yamata Japan transmitter, but it starts at 2259. Shouldn't be on. Anybody receiving that station there? Anybody can tell me the language, just out of curiosity? Oh, carrier only, Mickey? Oh, could it be Radio Japan Advance? So Mickey Delmage got 13650, very strong with carrier only. Maybe it's Radio Japan. Carl says dead air on 13650. Huh. Carl, but there is something there. Okay, so there's something on 13650. Brian Penny, 13650. Carrier, no audio here in eastern Massachusetts. Kevin Wood, carrier on 13650. I wonder if it could be Radio Japan that will be signing on in 8 minutes. Could they have started the carrier early? I mean, it's not that bad of a signal. I do get it going up to like S6, S5, S6 sometimes. So, interesting. Keegan, dead carrier, no audio. Matambali, 13650, bodacious carrier. Kevin Wood, very deep fades. Oh, that's interesting. Ray Erding says nothing on 13650. Johnny the Xer sees the wave with no audio. Bullfrog, 13650, just a visible carrier, no audio. I wonder if it's not Radio Japan that's going to sign on in 8 minutes, 7 minutes. Interesting. Terry Johnson, nice to have you on board from Texas. So love the radio. Lee Raff, maybe? PageMaster, 13650 is very strong carrier when the BFO switch is engaged on his DX392. Interesting. Interesting. So I wonder, because Japan is going to start up at 2259. So I wonder if it's not Radio Japan. That's going to be there. I mean, there is a carrier definitely here. It's not super strong, but it's there. Huh. Kind of interesting here. Vinny Romano, nice to have you on board from West Virginia. Melvin Witcher, nice to have you here. David Martin, nice to have you here. Says 13652. 70 dB, no audio. Interesting. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. We're going to try the International Space Station in a few minutes. I want you guys, if some of you can monitor 13650 until the top of the hour. I wonder if it's not Radio Japan from the Yamata transmitter side, direct from Japan. So if it signs on as Radio Japan, we'll be able to check that out. I will switch. I'll wait until the top of the hour and switch quickly. No, KC Red Dragon, the International Space Station is on VHF 145800, and it has to pass over your head when it's done. They're doing slow scan television pictures this weekend on 145.800 in FM mode. I got a pass coming up in 6 minutes time. So I'll be checking that out and see if I can hear it. I'll switch the antenna at the top of the hour. Matambali is parked on 13650. I would guess they will have their interval signal that we can recognize. If it's Radio Japan, I would guess they'll have their interval signal. Even I, with a little luck, might actually hear the interval signal. I'm staying parked on 13650. I'm intrigued if it could be Radio Japan, for sure. Matambali says, hearing faint music. Really? Huh, interesting. 13650. That is nice. You know, that's the exciting thing of about shortwave. You know, like a mysterious signal popping up somewhere. You know it's there. People hear it all over the place. We're not sure what it is. We're trying to find out what that could be. It's part of the fun of shortwave. Oh, Keegan says, I think I hear faint audio also. Huh. Terry Cogan, you convinced me. Having a fat tire. Cool. So faint audio. Moises Ferreira, nice to have you on board from Brazil. It's kind of interesting. Anything showing up here? It's so funny because now when it actually peaks, I have the impression of hearing something because of you guys telling me. What could that be? Hey, Nissan Greenwich, nice to have you on board from Dublin. Nice to have you here, my friend. Miki Dalmash says 13650 Radio Japan interval signal under the carrier. So that's something else. There's a carrier, but there's Radio Japan interval signal under the carrier. Huh. That is nice. James Hauser said, I send out faint signals all the time. Ray Erding says, loving a joke, plus it helps showing that others may receive something or not just me. Yep. I mean, you know, if I was parked here and all alone, and I would see that and hear nothing else, I would wonder if 13650 is local interference and not really know if anybody else is hearing it. Now you guys are confirming that you guys are hearing it, and the West Coast is hearing it much stronger than here. It kind of adds to the fact that West Coast is hearing it better. Could be an Asian signal of some sort. There's 13650. You have also there's NHK Radio Japan, and there's Radio Korea. North Korea is using this frequency also. DNS Hoover says, I cheated. I use the SDR from Japan. Hey, DJK Solo, nice to have you on board, my friend. Terry Colgan, listening to NHK's Music Box interval signal on 13650. I'd forgotten how pretty it sounds. It does sound really pretty. So that would be Radio Japan. But there seems to be like two. Nice. Nice. Pretty cool. So, hey guys, I'm going to go switch the antenna. We're going to try the International Space Station on 145-800. So let me just switch antenna here. It's interesting because even though it's weaker, I still see the signal on 13650 with the vertical. Okay, 145.800. 145.800. FM mode. Oh, 145.800. FM mode is there. And let's zoom in here. So on the right side, we should see bursts of packet when the signal is going to be there. So my SSTV is here. Let's cross our fingers that there's going to be some slow scan television. William Cullen, is this show just on the weekends? This is every Fridays. Every Friday at 2000 Universal Time. We are live. Tomorrow I have a live show, but it's every 2 weeks. So I got one tomorrow, the 9th. That means the next one's going to be the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd. So that one will be a VHF show. Terry Colgan to Shortwave Radio. Absolutely. Okay. Hey, Joseph. Nice to have you here from Tampa, Florida. KK4Y, WYL. Listen to so many of your past shows at work today. You have other channels too? Yes. We talked about it a little earlier. Just go to the when the show is ended. Look at the beginning of the show, and you'll hear them all. I've actually talked about them at the beginning of the show. So, what else do we have? NHK announcer, it's on now. Cool. Sorry guys, but I'm trying the International Space Station. I'll try 13650 when we're back. So the ISS is starting to rise in the sky here in the west-northwest. Should peak at 60 degrees at 2304. So we'll see if we get any slow scan television from the International Space Station. Keep an eye here. Here is 145825. You guys should see bursts of packet here appear from time to time. If you see these bursts here going down, that means that we're receiving the International Space Station. But I'm just wondering if we are going to get any slow scan TV stuff. We didn't hear anything about 90 minutes ago, so let's cross our fingers. So W5KJL says hearing voice now on 13650 sounds like Japan. Cool. Cool, and it's direct. So you guys are hearing Japan not from a relay, but direct from Yamata transmitter site in the suburb of Tokyo, Japan. Welcome back, Matt. Oh, Miki Dalmacha has 13650 China radio via Cuba in Portuguese. Really? So that could be what I was hearing. Interesting. We'll be checking that out. No, on 825, it's packet, Jerry. I'm seeing the packet. Look at that packet is there. So here is the International Space Station packet. You just heard the packet here. That's the packet station. So you guys just heard the packet. So I'm hearing the ISS packet. I hear the ISS packet station. But there's nothing on 145825, 145800, sorry. So every time you guys see this come down, that's the packet from the International Space Station. I am receiving it right now. But there's nothing in the slow scan TV frequency. Nothing at all. I'm almost wondering if they are broadcasting some packet tonight. DNS Euro says 13650 China Radio International from La Habana in Portuguese confirmed. So there's a mix of all of that. Casey Red Dragon, packet is packet. It's a different mode. It's a different thing. But slow scan TV from the International Space Station is normal slow scan TV, except that it's heard in FM mode, narrow FM. Ricky Spanish, nice to have you here. Says, remember the old demo units before they realized anyone can dial into the NSA, CIA department. They all use the same crypto as military. So welcome aboard. There's no. If there would be some slow scan TV, I would hear it because I hear the packet really well. It's impossible. They're not sending. I'm sure they're not sending. I don't think there's even a weak signal in here. They're just not sending any slow scan TV here. I mean, we're past the maximum here. So no slow scan TV, guys. They are not broadcasting slow scan, I'm sure. We'll see tomorrow. So let's go back to 13650. Let's re-switch the antennas. So I'm back on the shortwave radio antenna. And here we go. So we are back on the shortwave antenna. The Anasuro says 13650 way clear on the SDR in Kingwood, Texas, above S7. Cool. Shady Pyro, nothing on 145-800. PageMaster, is there a software program that anyone know on how to create a QSL card? You know, the best thing you can do, PageMaster, is simply take a beautiful picture you have, and you can easily use the most basics of you know, picture retouch software, even Paint in Windows, and you could create a cute little QSL card with it, and design it the way you like. It isn't that difficult. I've never known. Did somebody ever create a QSL card kind of, you know, of software, design software? Joe Summer on New House says, I had set up my ham radio receiver to ISS watching this pass. I think I'll not receive SSTV. Yeah, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it. I don't think they're transmitting. But PageMaster, that's what I would do, honestly, PageMaster. I would take a beautiful picture of mine that I want to use and use a really basic Paint software, like Paint in Windows or you know, any basic picture retouch software, and just tweak it to what you'd like to have and make a QSL of it. Honestly, I would do that at least. Andy Coley says there's QSL Maker. Huh, interesting. QSL Maker. Is that software available for just Windows or? Yeah, GIMP would work. GIMP is kind of complicated, you know, for people that have not a lot of, you know. Yeah, Jerry, another SSDV tease. So, hey guys, we've been on for 3 hours and almost 10 minutes. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to be back, okay? Tomorrow, we're going to be back, 2000 hours UTC. We'll try the International Space Station again. Anyways, I'll be trying it tomorrow morning. So if it's not there tomorrow morning, probably it's only going to be there. So let's cross our fingers. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Back tomorrow, 2000 UT. And we will tune the bands and have fun with Shortwave once again. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to those that have donated. Really cool. It's always fun to be here. And stay safe, my friends. See you tomorrow for those that could. If you can't, the next show is going to be next Friday, the February the 15th at 2000 UTC. Sheldon Harvey, sample copy for the February CIDX Messenger, CIDXclub@yahoo.com. You'll have that fine, beautiful messenger, and why not check it out, and who knows? It's a cheap way to, basically have a beautiful, publication every month. And thanks everybody for being here. Love you all. Stay safe. And tomorrow, 2000 UT. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Love you all.